It's Luke Cage and Iron Fist back together again. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you, and some really awesome guys put it together in an amazing edited video. With the Luke Cage TV show coming out, I decided to do the first arc of Power Man and Iron Fist, but since a lot of people don't know that Luke Cage goes by the name Power Man, I figured we would just call it Luke Cage and Iron Fist. After their Hero for Hire days, Luke Cage and Danny Rand had gone their separate ways. But today, 5 years later, Danny has a favor to ask of Luke. Their old office manager, Jenny Royce, has recently been released from prison, and Danny wanted to go pick her up. As Jenny walks from the pier, Luke tells her that it's good to have her out, and Danny welcomes her back to the world. She tells them that it's good to finally be out of there, and right now she could go for some real food. Once the three of them sit down at the diner, Luke says that he's sorry he didn't visit more often, and Jenny tells him that it's okay, that place was a living hell. And once word got out that she worked for Power Man and Iron Fist, well, actually, that was almost as bad as being the ex-girlfriend of the crime buster, which turned out he owed a lot of people money. It was bad enough having an ex-boyfriend beat you, but then having his enemies beat you just for dating him? Danny asks if there's anything they can do. He means anything. At first, Jenny says that she couldn't, but then she states that there's a storage locker crime buster had that had gotten taken by a person who he owed money to. Inside the locker was her grandmother's necklace, but the man who has it now, well, he's bad news. Luke asks, who is it? And Danny says, don't worry, we'll get it back for you. A short while later, Luke and Danny head out and Luke says, I can't believe you said that we would do this. And Danny tells him, come on, it's for Jenny. Sure, but this is a bunch of fiddle-faddle. What the hell is fiddle-faddle? Danny asks him. Well, it started when my kids started to mimic my words, and Jessica told me that I've really got to do something about all the swearing. The two of them park their car and they begin to walk into the building, and Luke tells them, let me do all the talking. Once they enter, Luke and Danny stand before Lonnie Lincoln, aka Tombstone, runner of the organized crime north of 110th Street. Luke explains, we're here for a friend. There seems to have been some confusion over some personal belongings that you came into possession of. There was a necklace with a red stone, belonged to a good friend, and it was mixed in with some stuff from Eugene Mason that you acquired due to a debt he owed you. Tombstone walks over, picking up the very necklace that they were talking about, stating, I knew Eugene, and he never owed me money. I got that necklace from winning a card game. So what you're really calling me is a thief. First you come and you're calling me a thief, then you say some lies about me. But the thing I can't get over is the fact that you brought Danny Rand, a living weapon, into my home. And Danny says, oh man, I didn't even say anything. Tombstone's men begin to surround Danny, and he tells them that they really don't want to do this. But as they all jump at him, Danny begins beating them to the ground. Soon, an all-out brawl erupts, and while fighting, Danny shouts, isn't this awesome? And Luke tells him, not at all. The fight dies down and Danny grabs the necklace, and the two of them leave and they head back to go see Jenny. After giving her the necklace, Luke mentions that Tombstone said that he won it in a card game, not from where she said he got it from. But Jenny cries, stating she just wanted it back. She's not sure why Tombstone would lie about that. All she wanted was just a little part of her life back. Danny tells everyone to bring it in. This is Jenny we're talking about. Doesn't this feel much better, Luke? But later that night, Jenny sits holding the necklace, and she hears a voice telling her that she didn't think it was going to work. And Jenny says, of course it did. Those two have no reason to doubt her. Plus, the crying helps. The voice then asks if she can hold the necklace, and Jenny tells her, what's mine is yours. The voice then steps out showing Black Maria, stating that once word gets out that Tombstone let this power slip between his fingers, his empire is going to crumble. And Jenny says, Black Maria and White Jenny are about to take over. Tombstone calls out to all of his henchmen, telling them that he needs the Super Soul Stone back, and he wants Power Man and Iron Fist, and he wants whomever hired them. So make sure everyone spreads that word. The next day, Danny and Luke go out to lunch, and Luke asks Danny what's with wearing the Iron Fist mask. And he tells him he dislikes wearing it. Feels good. And since yesterday, he's been thinking, we should get the band back together, Luke. Luke tells him no. But Danny says, remember all the great times we had as the Heroes for Hire? Things were so much fun back then. And Luke tells him, clearly you're remembering different things. Outside the diner, though, there are two of Tombstone's henchmen, Grim and Reaper, watching Danny and Luke, and they figure they should probably go in, but last time they kind of got their asses kicked, so they continue to watch. And that's when they see someone else walk into the diner, and Danny looks up asking if they can help them. It's Gorilla Man and Black Tarantula, and they tell Danny and Luke that they're here to retrieve the items that they stole from Tombstone. Luke points at him. Did you just call us thieves? He jumps up, tackling Gorilla Man out of the diner, landing on top of Grim and Reaper. The fight continues into the streets, but after a kick to the face from Danny and a punch from Luke, the fight quickly ends. Luke looks down at his shirt, which is now ripped. This was a Father's Day's gift. Now look at this. And Danny tells him, "That's what I meant about great times." Luke shouts, "See, this is a bunch of fiddle faddle. People think that we stole the Super Soul, as in the Super Soul Stone. And right now, we're gonna get to the bottom of it, Danny." The two of them go to Luke's smaller car, and Danny asks where the family truck is. "Jessica yelled at me for going back out, so she took the car to take care of the important stuff." After a short drive, Danny and Luke head over to Jenny's halfway house and learn that she's not there anymore. She went out this morning. She did have a visitor though, another woman who used to stay here named Maria Dillard. Luke suggests, "Maybe, just maybe, our friend set us up. She got her hands on the Super Soul Stone and is now rolling with Black Maria, and we need to find her before all this fiddle faddle gets out of control." Elsewhere though, Jenny and Maria sit in a room while Jenny goes over her time with Necra Sinclair, the one who originally told her about the Super Soul Stone. What she needed were these sacred tattoos and to just say some incarnations. So Jenny does, and the stone begins to break out of the necklace and lodge itself into Jenny's chest. Once it's done, Jenny's eyes change and she states that this is what it's like to have power. Later that night, Luke and Danny head over to Luke's home to get ready to go back out, and Jessica Jones begins to ask him what exactly is going on. "I just watched a video of you two fighting online against Gorilla Man and Black Tarantula, and I also know that you're trying to bring back the whole Power Man and Iron Fist thing." Luke says, "First, we're not back together. Second, me and Danny are helping a friend. Third, Danny is in the next room and can totally hear us." Jessica tells him, "I don't give a," and then she turns to Danny and asks if he can hear from there. Danny holds up their daughter stating, "Every word, and just so you know, it's my fault, Jess." Jessica then asks what is going on, and Luke tells her it's complicated. But Danny says it's really not that complicated. "Our friend Jenny was asking for help once she got out of prison. Tombstone had a necklace that belonged to her grandmother." Luke stops him, telling him, "We got duped. Even a nun told us that Jenny was with Black Maria, and nuns don't lie." Luke and Danny head out to talk to the only other person who knows about the mystic arts, Dr. Strange, and he tells him that it's great to see the two of them working together again. And Luke tells him, "We're not really back together." And Danny asks, "How did you know? Was it a mystical vision that shows us as a team?" And Stephen Strange tells him, "No, I saw the post on Twitter, so how can I help?" Stephen tells him that he's never heard of anything called the Super Soul Stone before, but there are lesser forms of magic. Maybe what they're looking for is something of a street magic or an okie dokie magic, or some other form of parlor trick. Two of them leave, and Luke says that he knew they shouldn't have come here. Now they're gonna have to go see someone who really knows about magic. Luke brings them to see Senor Magico, a wannabe master of the mystic arts, to learn about the Super Soul Stone. He explains the stone was created with dangerous street magic, and it gives the user untold power, but it only gives power to those who are weak. The problem is the power corrupts the user, taking over their mind. The stone has no limits on its strength, and the only way to defeat it is to get a strength greater than the strength it can give, whatever that means. Once they leave, Danny asks, "How can something be so powerful and we've never heard of it?" And Luke tells him the same reason Black History Month is the shortest month. Just as the two of them turn a corner, they bump into Grim and Reaper again. Luke gets ready to fight, but the two thugs tell them they're not looking for any trouble. Please don't kick their asses. They're here because Tombstone wanted to see them. Just follow them back to his place. As they drive, Luke says that he's got a bad feeling about this, and when they arrive, they see Tombstone getting thrown out of his building. Tombstone gets up, pointing at Luke, stating, "This is all your fault!" And Luke says, "There was a misunderstanding. We can make things right." But Tombstone tells him, "Good, because I'm hiring you and the Karate Kid to protect me." "From what?" And Danny points over, stating, "I'm sorry I didn't listen before, but I think you're right. I think Jenny was playing us." The deformed Jenny shouts that she will crush everyone's bones, and she lunges at everyone, grabbing her car with her tentacles. Maria shouts that she needs to calm down. She's getting a little cray-cray with that stud, and she tells her she's just getting started. Jenny slams the car down on Luke, and he yells, "Sweet Christmas!" Luke then tells Danny, "Get Tombstone out of here," and he grabs the car door as a shield. "Jenny, we're here to help you." But she attacks him, telling him, "Shut up!" Maria tells her she's looking a bit fierce with those tentacles and all, but was it supposed to be like this? While Maria continues to try and calm Jenny down, Jenny sees Luke from under the rubble, stating, "She's right." Jenny turns and throws a piece of debris, but before it could hit Luke, Danny jumps in, breaking it. Jenny then turns her focus back to Tombstone and lunges at him. And Luke says, "I got a plan. It's simple and effective." He grabs Danny by the back, and Danny asks, "Are you sure this is gonna work?" And Luke tells him, "Of course. Wolverine taught me this thing when he was in the Avengers." Luke then spins and throws Danny, and Danny shouts, "Fistball special! Sorry, Jenny!" But she catches him and throws him down. Jenny starts grabbing anything and everything in her path and slamming and throwing it around until Maria steps up, telling her she needs to stop this. She knows that she's been wronged, but these people, they've done right by her. Is she really going to kill these people and end up back in jail? As Luke and Danny watch, he says, "I can't believe we got back together long enough just to have our secretary kill us. That's some fiddle faddle." Slowly, Jenny begins releasing everyone and shouts, "Where is my power going?" And then she grabs Maria, stating, "You are my friend! Why do you want to make me weak again?" Danny then says it looks like her powers are about to hit a breaking point, and him and Luke jump in. Luke grabs a hold of Jenny so that Danny can hit her, but before he can, she releases off an explosion, pushing everyone away, shouting she doesn't want to hurt anymore. Jenny changes back to her old self, asking what happened to her, and Maria hugs her, stating that she went off the rails a little bit is all. Shortly after the police arrive, Luke calls home to tell Jess that everything is fine. Jessica just says, come out and say it. You and Danny are back together again. It'll make both of you feel better if you just come out and say it. So Luke says, we'll talk about it when I get home. But before hanging up, Danny shouts for him, tell her I said hey. And after he does, Danny says, that's why she hates me. She thinks I don't want to say hi. Afterwards, Luke takes the Super Soul Stone to the safest person he knows, Senor Magico. Senor Magico tells the two that he's got a storage unit in an astral plane that's guarded by some hell-spawned pit bulls. Ain't no place safer than that. By the way, what's the deal? Are you two back together again? Luke looks at Danny and finally says, sure. And Danny shouts, yes! As they walk home, Danny says that he needs to get him a costume again. Power Man needs a new one. And Luke tells him, I am already regretting this. And that's the return of Power Man and Iron Fist, also known as Luke Cage and Danny Rand. Two amazing superheroes. I'm a huge fan of Iron Fist, and just teaming them back up with Luke Cage is amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this story, if you like the two of them being back together, or did you enjoy Iron Fist having his own spin-off series where he was being a bit more serious and doing more of the martial arts stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here